the MD of Synology UK. He's going to take you through some information, give you some information about Synology as a company. After that, we've got Billy Knowles. He's one of our technical consultants, same as me. He's going to take you through the history of DSM and Synology. After that, we've got myself, and I'll be taking you through the new features and functions for end users, so that's you guys. And last but not least, we've got Greg Langford, who's our product manager, and he's going to take you through the new business features. So without further ado, could you all please welcome to the stage the MD of Synology UK, Mike Chen.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mike Chen, and I'm really excited to be here today. And before anything, I just want to take a minute to really thank you guys for coming down here today. You taking the time to come down here and be part of this event. Thank you so much. Thank you. DSM 5 is such a big release that we're having launch events, not just in London, but all across, well, pretty much the whole world. And this is the third launch event that we're having here in the UK. Show a hand here if you were with us at the last launch event at Manchester. Okay. Show a hand here if you were at our very first launch event back in 2012 at the Dorchester. We should hang out. Thank you for your continuous support. Now, I want to give you some updates on the history and basically how Synology has founded, etc. So Synology started in the year 2000. We started off as a software company. It wasn't until 2004 where the first NAS was introduced. I joined Synology about the year 2007. Back then, Synology was a company of no more than 40 people. And now, 7 years later, it's 300 plus people, 70% are engineers. This means we really care about research and development. We have offices now in UK, US, France, and Germany. Our warehouse is actually in Netherlands. Products sold over 90 plus countries. And we're specialized in one thing and one thing only, and that is NAS. If you get whatever features that we're bringing out, we want to make sure that you, our existing users, can use that feature without investing in any other equipment. Now, Synology UK, this is why I'm here. Established in the year 2009. And guess our office is located in Milton Keynes. We have office and we have warehouse. And we not only service the people, users in the UK, we're also the replacement service center for the whole Europe. This means we actually carry massive replacement stocks. You as UK users, you have home core advantage, meaning something goes wrong, we can replace your units within 24 hours. We're very well recognized in the NAS industry, and these are some of the awards that we've won continuously just to show you guys. We're not just because we're from Asia, we're not some dodgy company from Asia. Made in China still has a joke around. Okay. So we are very fast growing. And the next chart I'm about to show you is actually very impressive. It's from Google Trends, and the figure speaks for itself. As you can see, everybody knows that in 2009, 2010, that's when recession kind of kicked in. And a lot of companies are still struggling, battling against recessions, even until today. So you can see we are able to grow against the current and able to have nice 45 degree of healthy growth. And to share with you guys, we actually in the last 3 years, we averaged around 70 to 80% of growth. Now that wraps up my part of presentation. Now you guys come here to see the DSM 5. But before that, we're going to show you something, the DSM 4.3. My colleague here, Billy Knowles, will show you. A lot of people use our product, they use it for one feature or two. But there's so many you can do. And we're going to take 10 minutes to run that through with some exciting demos. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you Billy Knowles.
Thanks for that, Mike. Yeah, like I say, I'm Billy Knowles. I'm going to take you through some of the features of 4.3 and some of where we began. So, Synology, we've got a complete product range. With this, we mean we've got a product for everybody. So for your home users, we've got the J range, moving up to the Plus model for performance, and the XS Plus for the, the scalable storage and the big storage we've got there. So we've got a product for everyone. So our product coding, it can seem a bit confusing at first. I know when I first saw it, I was sort of blown away. I didn't understand what all these numbers and letters were. It's actually quite simple to work out. So the DS is this station, RS or rack station. First part of the digit is the amount of hard drives it can support. So 106, sorry, it can support 106. The second part is the year that it was released. And the third part is the product category. So we've got an example here, which is the 412 Plus. So it's a 4-bay disk station, year 2012, and it's in our performance range, so it's got Plus. So does anyone know how many hard drives this one can support? 2. Oh, awesome. And anyone know the year this one was released? 13. So you're all experts, it's easy. So yeah, RS 106 is our top of the range product, and it looks like that. Now, one of the features with the RS 106 is it is actually scalable storage, so you don't need to purchase all of that storage up front. You can actually just purchase the main unit, and then from there add on the extra expansion base. So it makes it a scalable option, and it makes it very cost effective. Now, with all those hard drive bays, you can add a lot of hard drives. Using 4 terabyte drives, you can get up to over 400 terabyte of storage space. Now, it may seem a lot for sort of photos and videos at home, but when you start looking at businesses, they start looking at these sort of solutions. We've got some features as well in DSM 5.0, which is going to make this 400 terabytes seem small fry in comparison to what we'll be able to do with our scalable storage. So moving on, we've got NAS and DSM evolution. So we started out with these units back in 2004, as you saw in the video. But as technology has moved on, and we try and make them more sort of consumer friendly, you want to have them on your desk. We're supporting more technologies now. So we're supporting things like USB 3, hardware transcoding, we've got Wi-Fi built into some of them as well. And some of them also got an SD card, so if you're a photographer, that's quite a handy feature to have. Now with NAS, as Mike mentioned, we started off as a software company. So this is the Synology Filer. As you can see, it's looking very snazzy. It's a bit dated now, but back in the 2004, this is how you managed your storage solution and what was on it. As the times have moved on, we were the first to support the Ajax solution as well. So you could log onto a web browser and access your disk station through there. As you can see, the user interface has been upgraded and you've got a lot more features available for you. Moving on to 3.2, you can see we've actually completely changed the user interface now. So it's more in line with things like the Windows operating system, where you can sort of see you've got a taskbar, it's multitasking as well. And you can see it's a lot friendlier on the eye. You can do multitasking as well, so this is the first feature that we released that one. This is our current version, 4.3. Again, we've updated the user interface. It's not so dissimilar to 3.2. We try and keep the users that we've got and make it easy to upgrade to the next solution. You can see a much nicer user interface. We've got a nice little bar on the side there to give you an overview. And this is 5. We haven't got it yet. So that's coming up soon. We're going to release that and you'll be able to see what that looks like. So, as Mike was saying, we've got a lot of features that we can add into the NAS. We're no longer just sort of storing your data on a server. You want to actually use that data and have access to it. So we've got multimedia streaming. And with multimedia streaming, one of the key features is that you're storing your data on the disk station. You're not having to store it on your tablet anymore or on your phone, using up that precious space that you've got on there. So with media streaming, you have all the data on your disk station, and you stream all of the videos and audio and things like that through to your DLNA devices, UPnP, it's also AirPlay ready as well if you're on the Apple. Moving on, we've got data at your fingertips. These are our mobile apps. We're actually available on iOS, Android and Windows. I'm not sure what that one's doing up there, so we'll get rid of that. We're available on the operating systems here. So the apps that we've got all tie in with apps that we've got on the disk station. So DS Audio you've got, so if you've got any audio, stream it through to your tablet device. DS Video as well to stream your video. We've got other apps on there available as well. So, Cloud Station. Everybody seems to be talking about the cloud and what is the cloud. So a lot of people are storing their data on things like Dropbox and other cloud solutions. Now the benefit of this is you're storing your data on the cloud solution and you can access it from all of your other devices. The only problem with that is if you, say, lose an internet connection or something like that, you haven't got access to it. So with the cloud station we've got available here, it's local to your disk station if you're local. If you're out and about and you've got an internet connection, you can stream it to your other devices, and then when you update it, it updates it on all your other devices. So you've probably seen these features before. It's Active Directory and LDAP ready as well, so you can tie it into your domain if you need to. And the storage is sort of limited to how much storage you've got on your disk station. So if you want 2 terabytes of storage, you have 2 terabyte hard drive. You haven't got to purchase any more. So let's jump onto the second disk station. They don't need to do any different config or anything like that. It just happens in the background. And then obviously the admin is alerted. Surveillance station. This is a growing market, and we've introduced this a while ago. So we're now on 6.1, and we've got some key features as well. We're one of the first NAS vendors to introduce a surveillance station on the NAS itself. With surveillance, you're obviously storing a lot of data coming from the cameras onto hard drives. So why not sort of tie it in together and make it a one-stop shop? You can download and install it for free and get working on a single camera straight away. The great thing about this is you've got centralized management built in now, so you can actually access different recording servers. And we've got some new features as well in 6.1. One of them is the Synology plugin, so we're trying to do away with the Java plugin and go for a more streamlined solution. We've got the device packs as well, so when updating Surveillance Station and we've got new cameras that we support, old times you'd have to update the entire Surveillance Station. We're now introducing device packs, which means you can just update your Synology Surveillance Station for the cameras that you want to support. You've also got PS camera on the end for accessing it from your tablet. So we've got a little demo, so I'm going to jump over to the computer here and just take you through that. So you've probably seen this interface before. This is DSM 4.3. Hopefully this is probably what your disk station is on at the moment. As you can see, the interface, we've got a taskbar up here, which most people are used to. We've got the system settings on the right-hand side here, so you can see what your disk station is doing. It's configurable, you can get rid of it if you want to. And we've got the main menu here. This will show all of the packages that you've got installed. You can access the storage manager as well, and things like the control panel. Comes to the package center. This sort of highlights what Mike was saying earlier. Here's all our installed packages. And if our internet connection is good, which it seems it is, we've got all of the packages that you can install here. So these are all free to install, and you can get working with them straight away. So you can see there's a lot more features than just storing data on a box and accessing it. Okay. So with this, you can see here we've got the video station and the audio station. What I'm going to do now is just show you how that works on a mobile environment. So if we jump over to the iPad. Okay, so we can all see that. And we've got the telly on as well, that's great. So on the iPad, we've got two of the apps I'm going to show you today. We've got lots of apps, but I'll just show you a couple of them. It's DS Video. So with DS Video, we can see all of our video library. So we're already playing the video. It's a bit premature, there we go. So you can see all of our video library. So you can split them into movies, TV shows, and things like that, however you want to access them. And all of the details of the video all come from IMDb and things like that. You get a full breakdown of, you don't have to type any of this in, it just sort of updates automatically for you. So in the top right, you should be able to see the play button. Click on that. We can actually plug this in. This is just a audio, so you can see this. And what we'll do is we'll stream that over by DLNA to the Apple TV. So what's happening now is the iPad is talking to the disk station, and they're making a connection with the Apple TV, trying to set up that connection. It's giving me the option to carry on where I've left off. So if you started this, say, in the kitchen, you're making your dinner, you've got that on the side, you're watching your film, and you come into the living room, what you want to do is watch it on the big screen on your surround sound. So we'll just say, yeah, continue where we left off. And it's now going to talk to both devices and set up the DLNA connection when it goes through. The other option you've got, because it's DLNA, on the big screen, we can actually close that app down, and the connection is now between the Apple TV and the disk station. So we can open it up again. Stop it, you can go to the washing up, you want to take it back into the kitchen, press play, and then it will load up, it will speak to the two devices, find out where it was left off last time, and again give you the option to continue where you left off, so you can carry on watching it where you are. Close that. One of the other apps we've got is DS Audio. That's a great app if you've got a lot of audio on your disk station, you want to stream it over your tablet. So as you can see here, we've got a nice sleek interface here, just to access all of your audio and things like that. What we can do as well, we've got the option of streaming it to a Bluetooth speaker. So we've got a Bluetooth speaker set up down there. Some of you in the back might be able to see it, we've got one set up. And all that's plugged into that is the power cable. There's no sort of wires to the iPad or anything like that, but we can actually stream directly to that. So we can start playing straight away. What I can do is also, if I'm out and about and I want to take it with me, I can bring it back to the iPad, and it comes straight back to me, so that connection's changed. So we'll pause that. The other option you've got, which is unique to Audio Station at the moment, is offline files as well. So if you're going away on holiday, you've got all your audio on your disk station, but you want to listen to it while you're on the plane. You've actually got offline files, and what you can do is offload some of your albums, whichever ones you want to listen to, onto your device. They're temporarily stored on there, and then when you're on the plane, you can carry on listening to them. So I'll put them down. Now we'll jump back over. So we're back on 4.3 and our normal user interface. What we'll do is the other thing that I spoke about, another feature that we had, was surveillance station. So we'll jump on that. Now, if anybody's used the surveillance station before, you'll know that normally when you open up surveillance station, you used to have the Java pop-up just to say, make sure everything's okay, and do you want to update or do you want to allow this to run? This doesn't happen anymore, we just go straight into the user experience. So we've got two cameras set up here. Well, they're both over that way. We've got Axis and Robotics. So as I was saying before, you're not tied in with any one brand. You're not having to just get, say, Samsung or something like that as your camera brand. You can actually mix and match and tie them all into one device, which is really handy. So we can go into the live view, and what we've got here is a layout already set up, and it's got a couple of our cameras set up here. We can actually change the layout, and we can have lots of different options with that as well. So if we jump back to this one and add the two cameras, we've got Axis and Robotics. We'll just save that. And close that. So we've got the live view option, and we've got a couple of unique features with this as well. So we've got two cameras. This one is a PTZ camera, and this one, as you can see, is a fisheye camera. The unique thing with the PTZ is you're able to actually interface with the camera, and you can see people waving at the back there. So again, you can move it around. And as this is a web interface, you can actually access this wherever you are, as long as you're on the internet. You can log into your disk station at home. You've got cameras set up there. You can see who's taking this stuff. So one of the other options you've got with a fisheye camera is kind of a warped view. It's trying to give you that 360-degree view so you can see everything. But that's not really sort of human-friendly sometimes, so we've got some options available for that as well. So it's this robotics camera we've got here. Under the advanced features, we've actually got fisheye de-warping. And what that does, it does its best job at trying to make the image a nice flat image so you can see it clearly. So we've got a region here set up, so you can see this red box that we've got available. You can actually take little sections of this, and as you can see on the bottom one, it tries to make a nice flat image and de-warp that. You can also do it via a hemisphere as well. And so again, it's really easy to just change what you want to see. You just want to see a certain section. So we'll close out that. We don't need to say that. The other option we've got as well is, so we've got a couple of de-warped views there. You kind of want to see them in your live view. We can change that as well, so in the layouts, we've got a couple of options here. We can customise this if we wanted to, and so we just have these two cameras, but I like this interface, that's fine. So we'll drop in the two cameras that we've got. As you can see here, we've also got the option of adding in the two de-warped images. So we'll save that. And close it down. And once it opens up again, we'll have the new layout that we've selected. And we've got the option as well, within the live view, so this is live, you can actually just change and edit what you're viewing. You can do it on the hemisphere as well. You can do it on here or with the camera. So that's surveillance station. What I'll do is I'll leave that there. So that's my part pretty much done. We're all here to see 5.0, so that's kind of what you can do at the moment when you leave. What I'd like to do now is introduce Stefan, who's going to introduce 5.0 for you. Hopefully you'll get a view of it now, not just a big question mark. So I'd like to welcome up Stefan. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you very much. Let's have a hand for Billy, everybody. Fantastic. Right, so you've all seen DSM 4.3, some of you have used it before. So my job here today is to take you through the new features that we've got in DSM 5. So, what is new in DSM 5? Firstly, we've got a fresh new interface. We've redesigned it, we've made it cleaner, we've made it sharper, we've made some changes to the icons and several other small features. We've also got some enhancements to already existing applications. Cloud Station and Cloud Services, as Billy mentioned, is one of our most widely used services. So what we've done is we've listened to feedback from our end users, you guys, and we've made some massive enhancements. So I'm going to take you through those as well. And last but not least, mobile applications. Most of you own disk stations, and the first thing you want to do is find out how you can connect to it from when you're not at home. We've made massive improvements to those applications as well. So let's get going. Firstly, why have we changed the user interface? We've made it cleaner, we've made it sharper, we want to make it visually striking, we want to bring it into the new era. With things like iOS 7 and Windows 8, people are used to a certain look. So we want to keep up to date, we want to make sure that our image is sharp and clean. So, let's have a look at what DSM 5 looks like. Now, you did not think it was going to be that simple. No. Right, I want you to welcome in DSM 5 as it should be. So let's make some noise. DSM 5. So you can see here, it's not that different to what you used to in DSM 4.3. But there are some very, very key differences. From here, it doesn't look that different. But you can see up in the top left-hand corner, there's a home button. So when I click that now, I get a full screen menu. Now that's different. Before, as Billy showed you, had a drop-down. Why we've done that is because we've actually optimized this system for touchscreens. So the vast majority of you, as many of you pestered me for Wi-Fi codes, have touchscreen devices. So you want to be able to use DSM easily and quickly on that touchscreen device. So what we've done is made the application icons ever so slightly larger, and we've increased the margin between them. So that means when your finger comes in and taps that icon, it's not going to get confused and open something else. Now, the icons, as I mentioned, have been changed. Those changes are very minor, but what we've done is made them slightly less detailed, slightly bolder in colour. One of our guys from Taiwan told me that the package center icon has been designed to look like it's smiling at you. Welcome. Right, so apparently that's going to make your user interface as pleasant as possible. Now, the other feature is here, you can now search for your applications. So there you can see I've searched cloud. I haven't searched for cloud station or a specific application, I've searched for term. Now, if I search cloud, it will bring me all of our cloud station applications. That's a new feature. On top of that, the widgets that Billy showed you earlier have had changes as well. So we had a box that came up in the bottom right-hand corner, you could select and choose which one was there. But as you saw on Billy's screen, that was restricted. It was held back by the resolution that he was using. Now in DSM 5, you're able to customize your widgets and view them how you want them. I'm going to take you through that in the demo so you can see exactly how that works in a bit more detail. Now, application badges, before, you have areas of DSM that need attention. So for example, DSM needs an update. You now get a badge telling you that DSM needs an update. The same thing goes to the package center. There's updates available, so it'll notify you, or you may have quarantine items available. So these are just to make sure you know what's going on with your disk station, and they are configurable from the notifications panel that you're already used to. With the rise of 4K TVs and devices like that wonderful thing over there, people are having high definition screens. Apple are on the rise, Retina screens are on the rise. So you want to have the experience that you paid for on your device. So in DSM 5, we have a smart code in the background that detects what resolution your screen is and upsells the icons to make sure that the experience you're having on your high definition screen is the one you paid for with your device. So, next up, let's have a look at a demo. Let's see what it actually looks like. So just like Billy, I'm going to go over here and click into demo mode. Billy has strategically left DSM 4.3 open for me just to illustrate the points I've made, and so you can quite clearly see the differences between DSM 5 and DSM 4. So in here we've got a list of disk stations that we've got. Those are all here at the front. So we've got two 1513s, we've got a 213 Air, and a new 214 Plus. So I'm going to go to our head office disk station. You can also see we've changed the log-on screen. It looks a bit sharper and cleaner in keeping with everything else. I'm going to put my super secret password in. I use it for everything, online banking. Okay, so that's where here we're on the desktop now. You can see how it looks. It's, as I said before, a bit similar. But let's open this main menu. So from here, I can now create icons in a few different ways. So I'm going to put the support center on the desktop and drag it over here, and I can now make an icon. So quick and simple. The other thing I can do, this may shock you to find out, you can also right-click on them and set desktop to shortcuts. So anyone that's used to using Windows, you'll find that very comfortable. Now, the widgets, how do we get to those? We've got a new icon up here, widgets. So within there, again, I can either press the plus icon to add it to my desktop, or I can drag it and put it on this side and put it on my desktop as well. So let's have a look at how that looks. So that looks pretty similar, but I don't want them over there. I want my system health on here, and I have my resource monitor here. So that means I can just arrange things how I want them done. But it doesn't stop there. I can minimize it if I don't want quite as much information as it's giving me, or I can just tell it to go away completely and put it away in the taskbar at the top here. Hovering over it gives me the application, or I can put it there. And the same thing goes to the resource monitor. So it's the same in pretty much all of them now. Some of them don't have the functionality to go up here because quite clearly just wouldn't have anything to show you. So that's the customization options you have available now. So what I'm going to do very quickly is just show you the search we've got as well. So up here, CL, and it's already brought up the cloud applications I was looking for. So anyone used to Windows 8 or 18 Windows 8, as I did, will find that system quite at home for you. Right. So that's the applications of it. So now let's go back to the presentation and we'll keep going. Now, we've enhanced some features in DSM. As we said in the beginning of this video, we take our customer feedback very seriously. We've been listening to you guys, but we've been enhancing the features that you're already used to. So let's see where we can go. File permissions are now able to be done at the advanced and ACL level on subfolders and individual files. Previously, that was only available on a shared folder as its own header, whereas now you can drill down to individual files and folders and set these ACL permissions from DSM directly. That's a huge feature and it's going to be really helpful for those of you in the enterprise environment. This is a bit more for our home users, but what we've done is we've actually integrated social networking into file sharing. So you may have already used the shared file link that we've got in DSM. We've taken that a step further and we've now enabled Facebook users and Google Plus users to add their friends or their circles, and once you log on to the disk station as your Facebook or Google Plus account, you can generate a link and send a private message to one person. They open that message and the file gets sent to them and they've got it. Even if you then took that exact same link, even though you produced it and copied and pasted it into your browser, you will not be able to open that file. Only the person you have addressed it to is able to open it. So we've enhanced security and functionality and ease of use for our clients. We've also got a lot of people here who are web designers, developers. We've included a text editor in DSM now as well. So this has syntax highlighting and the ability to create and edit files on the fly. Meaning if you're opening HTTPS files or you've got PHP you want to access, you can just change it from here and very quickly see how it's working. The management tools in DSM 5 have been improved as well. So we've created a new area within the control panel in the information center where you're now able to access your services. So you can quickly see when you've got your FTP server or you've got Cloud Station active, if it's allowed through the firewall and the status of that application at the given time. We've also improved the ability to check how your hard drives are doing. You now get more information on your hard drive. Instead of just a smart test, you can see how many bad sectors there are or the power on time for every hard drive. So it just means you know where you are. Hard drives are one of the major things that tend to have issues in the NAS environment. That's not just down to us, any NAS environment. So being able to check up on your hard drives is a really important feature. So we want to make sure you guys are able to do that easily. We've also improved the help feature. So you're all used to the help function in DSM. You can go and check and have a read through all the different documentation that we've got. However, you had to wait. Every time we updated DSM, that's when we improved the help file. We've now got two options, an online and an offline version of those. So the online version is kept up to date along with the applications and products that we release. So you can get the most up-to-date information directly with your disk station and not have to wait for a DSM update to get that. We've also improved the package center. Oh, it looks so happy, doesn't it? So with the package center, you can now select different applications to update automatically. So if you're an IT administrator and you want all of your media servers to update automatically, all you can simply do is go in, set a rule for that to happen, and it will update automatically. But on the other side of it, you probably don't want your mail server restarting in the middle of the day when it updates. So you can add that into the list if you do not want to update automatically. And those badge icons I showed you earlier, that'll pop up and tell you you've got updates waiting. Some of you may have had dealings with us at support before, hopefully not too many of you. But if you have, you will have known that putting tickets on our website is quick and simple. But we've taken that one step further. The support is now integrated into the DSM 5. You can generate a ticket, send us a message, and we'll reply to you automatically. So you don't no longer have to go to our website to be able to generate that ticket. On top of that, we've also included the ability to create your log files from there as well, and allow remote access and SSH access for us at technical support. So we don't have to send you instructions to do it or send you a URL anymore. It's a one-stop area for your Synology support. So let's have a look at it. See how it works. So here we are, back in there. Now, what I'm going to do first off is just show you our new file permissions that we've got. I'm going to open File Station, go into the music folder here. Now, as that's the main folder, we don't want to check that. So I can click here, right click on this one, go to my properties. Now you can see a bit more information here, but on top of that we've got the permissions pane. And you can see we've got the administrator here, that's read and write. That's a standard one because that's the administrator. But for other users, you click this, and you can now see that there's advanced ACL privileges on each folder. On top of that, I can drill down into that folder, and again, set it on the individual file. So that's a massive enhancement into DSM. Previously, you were only allowed read, write, read, and no access. So this is a much, much different approach to these things that we've got in DSM 5. Let's have a look at our new text editor. So in here, I've got a WordPress PHP file I've nicked. So I'm going to now right-click and open that with text editor. And you can see here that all the different areas are highlighted with the correct syntax area, and it's a simple way you can just file, save, close, and that has updated that file on the disk station. So if you're running a web server from the disk station itself, that's a really easy way of changing your files without having to worry about restarting PHP or using your FTP client anymore. Now, let's have a look in the control panel. So from the control panel, we've also made some slight changes. So you can see the icons have changed as well now. Again, a bit flatter and a bit cleaner, but you also notice there's less of them. It's a bit less cluttered. There are reasons for that, which there were a lot there before, but what we've got is, I'm going to go into the area I want to see now, but what you can see on the left-hand side is that we've now included the ability to navigate the control panel from every single page. So I no longer have to go back and forward when I want to go to different areas of the control panel. It's just a bit easier to use. This is the services page I was telling you about, where you can enable various services, check whether they're fully viable. So you can quite easily just untick one, enable WebDAV, press save. And those services are now enabled. So I don't need to go from one area of this station to another looking for where my services are. It's just a one easy area to do it for you. Let's have a look at the help function. DSM help. This is the new help. Now it looks pretty much exactly the same as it did before, but the only difference here is the source. So as this disk station connects to the internet, it's automatically selected the online version of our help files. But if I wasn't connected to the internet, it will click over to the offline version. But there are slight differences between the two, so if you feel like looking at an older version, that's your choice, but you can just do it directly from there. Right, automatic updates from the package center. So as Billy showed you earlier, we've got a lot of packages. Now because DSM 5 is new and still in beta at the moment, we haven't released any packages into there, but what we have done is enable the ability to choose the automatic update. So we can do notifications now as well, and if I go into here, you can see that we've got only packages below selected to update automatically. So let's make sure that I don't have any outages in the middle of the day that I don't want. So lastly, let's have a look at our new help system. Anyone that's got a ticket on our website will probably recognise that form. It's pretty much exactly the same as it is on our website. We brought it in here. The main difference here is the support services. So from here, I can enable remote access, press apply. That automatically sets up SSH access and gives us a key that we can use to connect to your disk station for you. And also you can see that it has an expiration, so your disk station isn't always open. That means if you have to enable SSH for us to get access and you forget to disable it again, you're not having to worry about being attacked by hackers. And as you can see at the bottom, you're now able to generate logs. So, let's go back to the presentation. QuickConnect is an application you might be used to. It's been around in the DSM for a while, but we've decided to enhance that feature. We've moved it on a bit. Now, what have we done with it? Firstly, we've allowed more support in more applications, namely all of them. So any application that you've got in DSM that's owned by Synology you would want to access from outside is now able to be accessed by QuickConnect. On top of that, you now have access to DSM through QuickConnect as well. Let's have a look at what's available in 4.3. You can see that the applications that are available by QuickConnect in DSM 5. Quite simply, we've just made it work. We've also improved how you set up your QuickConnect. This is what you see now when you turn on your disk station for the first time. You get a welcome screen. Next, you're able to set up a QuickConnect ID either with a new MyDS account or an existing one that you've got already. The reason we're bringing up MyDS account is because we've decided to integrate these two features. I'll go into that more in a moment. But the last stage is giving you your QuickConnect ID. Now this little section here, you can actually drag and drop that to your desktop and it will create a shortcut where you can go directly to your disk station. Now what that actually does is it detects automatically whether you're in the same network or outside the network of your disk station and will put the correct IP address and link in the top bar related to whichever one you've got. Now MyDS has been around again for a while, but we've integrated them. So from MyDS you're now able to administer and access all of your QuickConnect IDs for all of your disk stations. So that means if you forget your QuickConnect ID or you need to access your disk station and you don't quite know what it is, all you have to do is log into your MyDS account and you can quickly get to your disk station anywhere. I mentioned at the beginning CloudStation. A lot of you probably have used CloudStation. If you haven't, hopefully you will after this. But we've made some major changes to it. We've had a lot of feedback about CloudStation. We've been listening and this is what we've done. Firstly, CloudStation clients are now able to connect to multiple disk stations. So I have one at home and I've got one in my office. I don't want to have to choose which one I want to synchronize down to my laptop. So now I don't have to make that decision. I can connect to both, choose which shared folders I'd like to synchronize from which ones. You're now able to access CloudStation with read-only permissions. Previously you had to have full access, read-write permissions to a shared folder. With CloudStation you can now do read-only, meaning if you've got a business that has, let's say, your policies and procedures, you want to send those down to your remote workers. You don't want them to be able to open them and change their policy to say they get paid £3 million a year. You want them to be able to just open them and close them again. So this allows you to do that with your own sites. The shared file link is now also able to be created from within Mac or Windows. You don't have to log on to the disk station, go into your CloudStation and then create the shared link. You can now simply right click and create the shared link directly from Windows. Now this feature, I know you're all probably been waiting for, you're now able to have a CloudStation client on a disk station itself. You're not just limited to having it on a PC or a mobile device. You can now have two-way synchronization of CloudStation on your disk station. I will take you through a demo of that and show you how it works in a moment, but this feature is really good and it was requested quite heavily. Lastly, we've now created the ability to connect to your online cloud. So some of you probably know these two icons here, that's Google Drive and Dropbox. The other icon is a Chinese provider called Beidou. They're very new, very big in China. We do have quite a large market share over there, so we've included that in the setup of a hybrid plan. But you may probably not use it as you don't really want your data from China. But we've now had the ability to synchronize your data from your online ability down to your local. So you can go onto your disk station, make sure that your Google Drive documents are stored on your disk station. A lot of people are worried at the moment because of the outages that happened with Amazon S3 and also with the whole Edward Snowden instance. So people want to know where their data is. This gives you peace of mind. You lose your internet connection, you no longer have to worry. Your documents are on your disk station. If you save them onto your Google Drive, they will synchronize to your disk station. If you save them onto your disk station, they will synchronize to your Google Drive. It's a two-way sync. So this feature is fantastic and I'm really looking forward to showing you guys how that works. Right, so let's have a look, shall we? Can you pop back over here? So you're ready to go to the gym this week. I'm walking over this station. Okay. So, here we are. Now, at the moment, I'm on our CloudStation server. So I'm going to open CloudStation. And from here, you can see it's actually got the QuickConnect ID and information here. So if I go to Action, I can QuickConnect settings and actually see my QuickConnect ID and information directly from here. I don't need to go back anymore. So what we're trying to do with DSM 5 is make sure your user experience is quick and sharp. So let's go over to my other disk station now and see the synchronization. So I've got another 15 and 13 here. Yes, it is the same password. And from here, you can now very easily see I've got a Cloud Station client icon in the top right corner that's telling me that I've got synchronization and it's up to date. So I'm going to launch the Cloud Station client and see the information here. So it's very quick and simple. Now if I go into here and open Cloud Station server again and go into my client list, you can see I now have the disk station available in there. So let's test it. Go to File Station here. I'm going to go into my Photos folder, which is the photo that I've set up to synchronize, and I'm going to upload the file. I've got my desktop background there, so I'm going to upload that to this disk station. You can see it's been added and uploaded successfully. Go to the other disk station, open File Station, go to Photo, and you can see that that image is now there as well. So it's really quick, really simple, and it means that you're now able to have peace of mind with your data, making sure you've got it in multiple places and accessing it wherever you are. So, multimedia. Multimedia features, as Billy showed you earlier, as a major function for our home users, so we've made some improvements there as well. Firstly, in Photo Station. Photo Station previously, you had to go into your file station to organise your files. We've changed that now. From the Photo Station application, you can now move your files and edit them from wherever you want. So you can drag and drop them into different folders and files and organise them directly from Photo Station itself. We've also improved some functionality with the thumbnail generation. Now, thumbnail generation has to be done on the disk station all the time, so it goes through and does all your photos. Now, if you're like me, I'm actually a photographer outside of being with Synology, so I generate a lot of images. But I generate two types of images. I generate a RAW file for when I've taken the photo, and then a JPEG for when I'm done editing it. I don't necessarily want all of my RAW files having thumbnails. It takes a long time, and it means I'm going to get duplications. So now with DSM 5, you can exclude specific file extensions. So for me, that would be .nef. So with excluding that, my RAW files no longer have thumbnail generation, reducing the time of generation by an infinitesimally large amount, because I'll probably take 1,000 photos and use 5 of them. So that is a massive improvement with that. Now what we've also done as well is if you go on holiday and 5 years later you don't really want to be adding any photos to that because you can't go back in time and take more. So you don't want the indexing to still be going back and looking at that folder every time it runs. So we now have the ability to exclude specific folders from the indexing. Video Station is one of our most popular applications, and we've made some changes there as well. When Billy showed you the application on the iPad, there was an icon in the top right-hand corner where you could select your play point. Now, that wasn't in Video Station before. You had to start playing the video and then change where you wanted it to be playing afterwards. So this just ties up all of our UIs and makes sure that your experience, no matter where you are, is the same. We've also had the ability now to put videos on repeat and use custom movie posters. So some people have individual choice in films, and those films may not necessarily be on IMDb, which is where we scrape all of our data from. Sorry. So, what we now have the ability to do is you can save an image into the same folder as your videos with the same name as the video. It will automatically detect that that file is there and use that poster for your film. Now, another improvement with that is we've now, a lot of people spend a lot of time organising their videos. Everyone's very particular about how they like them organised, so they make their own collections, be that by genre or however you want it done. So what we've done is we've now married Video Station and the DNLA server. So now when you access your disk station via DNLA, you're not just seeing every single video you've got available. You're seeing the collections that you spent your time creating. The future of multimedia, though, is in smart TVs and small devices like Chromecast. So today I'm very happy to tell you that we are working side by side with Samsung to create an application for their smart TVs that will run on the TV itself. So DS Video will now be running on Samsung TVs with no need for a third party thing like Chrome. But if you're like me and you are unfortunately unable to afford one of those wonderful devices and you've got a slightly lesser version of a TV, you can use things like Chromecast. Now Chromecast is very new, it's been released by Google, you may have heard it coming out. It's very new in the UK and it's very new in general to Google. They're yet to release the proper SDK. We're really looking forward to supporting it. The ability to Chromecast, which is what they called it, is still available. You can still do that. But as soon as that SDK comes out, we're going to be immediately trying to get support in there for DS video and DS audio. And we're really looking forward to seeing what we can do with Chromecast in the future. So let's have a look at the changes we've made in the multimedia department. So let's have a look at Photo Station. So Photo Station 6, if any of you are used to Photo Station 5, you'll see it's a little bit different. But let's just quickly show you the drag and drop function. So I'm going to select a few here. I'm going to drag those and put them into the dotable variable folder because that's where it was. So you can see now those have moved in here. So what I'm going to do is just pop over to here quickly and show you that those changes I just made have been immediately mirrored in the back end. So the folders that were there, sorry, the files that were there, have now disappeared and have moved into here. So it's immediately replicated those changes in the back end of DSM. So that's a very small change, but it's handy for those people who like organising their photos. So lastly, it's like a video station. Video stations had a little bit of a change as well. You might notice the colour is slightly different. Before it was very, very purple. So we've made it look a bit lighter. We've given that purple hint to it so you still know where you are. We haven't get confused. So if we open After Earth, for example, and click up here, you can see now I have that ability. So that's just a quick demo of multimedia functions. So last but not least, we're going to have a look at our mobile applications. As I said before, mobile applications are the reason people own things like disk stations. They want access to their information no matter where they are. With the rise of smart devices, you really want to make sure that your applications are up to scratch. So we've made some changes to those two. So firstly, DS file. DS file now has some application icons that represent the type of file you're opening. So a Word document icon for a Word document, and zip folders and so on. We've also put some new buttons in there. Now those are to increase the functionality of our new features we've put in. Firstly, you are now able, yes, to compress and extract archives from DS file. You no longer have to log on to your disk station through the web browser to do this. On top of that, you can now create shared file links through DS file as well. So you can see we've tried to unify all of our services and make sure you don't have to go back to DSM every time. You can now do it through mobile applications. Now, Cloud Station, as I said before, major application, so we've made some changes there as well. You now get a progress bar telling you how synchronized you are, and in keeping with everything else that client on a mobile device is now able to access two disk stations at the same time. This feature for me is fantastic. I spend a lot of time traveling, I go on planes and things like that, not bragging, but I want to view my videos while I'm on the plane, and I don't have internet connection, and I don't want to have to, especially with an iPad, it's very difficult to get videos onto an iPad. So now in DS Video, there's a simple button next to the play button that turns it into an offline file, very similar to what Billy showed you in the DS Audio application earlier. So now that's been included in the new application as well. And those of you, however many there are, using Windows Phone, you now have the DS Download application. So for those of you who want to have your BitTorrents downloaded, unless you're a BT customer, you're now able to access that and do it from there as well. So that's me done. That's me over today. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a bit of a coffee break, but when we keep going. Right, so it's my great pleasure, as I mentioned before, to introduce Greg Langford. He's our product manager. So he's now going to take you through all the fitness features of DSM 5, so if you can all join me in welcoming him into the stage.
I know what you're thinking, what brilliant entrance. There was actually a plan for me to come down on Zipwire, but we spent the budget feeding you guys. I don't hold grudges though, but if you want to buy me a beer afterwards, you know, I'm absolutely fine with that. So, moving on with DSM 5, obviously I'm here to talk about business features. A lot of you hear about business features, speaking to some of you before. So let's get started. So there's three main sections I want to talk to you guys today about. So I'm going to first talk about how we've unified DSM in DSM 5, how we've unified the interface, the management, things like that. Then I'm going to talk about backup enhancements we've made, so some of you might be using time backup, anyone using? Okay, there'll be some exciting sort of changes coming up there. And also some performance enhancements we've made. If you've come to previous Synology Launch events, you know, it's pretty commonplace that we make some enhancements as well. So let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about is a centralized management system. Any surveillance station users in there using CMS at the minute? Okay, you guys will be very familiar with the way CMS works and the way it sort of unifies what you do. We took on board what people said and actually incorporated this into DSM 5, talking to a couple of you guys before, saying you manage a lot of disk stations at different sites, so you have to log into different systems, etc. So this is quite exciting. So these are some of the challenges we have at the moment for business storage. So let's say we don't have a single point of management, we don't have a single point of access, we've got no way of seeing how we can see storage being used on different systems, etc. So Synology took on board what you guys said. So we've got the centralized management system. A quick overview of what is centralized management. So here we've got our management server. So this is the server which we connect to. This is where we manage all our child disk stations below. So this is your single point of entry. As an administrator, you don't want to have to log into different disk stations, you want a different usernames and password. You can now manage everything centrally. So these are three of the sort of areas that we're covering with centralized management. So we've got the resource utilization. So things like storage utilization, CPU utilization. So if you're currently using disk space on different Synologies and you don't know how much you use on one, you don't know how much you use on the other, you can get a quick glance and actually see an overview of everything at once. Again, remote access, so you're having one login, one area to go to actually manage all of the disk stations as well. And also policy rollout. So if you're familiar with Active Directory group policies, there's actually a way now that we can create policies and push these across multiple disk stations as well. So starting with the smart monitoring, as I say, things like performance utilization monitoring, logs, notifications, and I personally have got this station at home and I've got it open on SSH. I constantly get alerts of people trying to log into my disk station with various usernames and passwords, etc. And you can actually see an overview of this with the centralized management, seeing what people are doing alert-wise and resources, etc. You can see the health of all the servers, you get a quick glance to see everything's working as it should. I don't need to log into 10 systems to tell me that. You can also receive the same notifications, etc. Next, you've got the remote management. So basically, as I say, you're managing multiple disk stations. It's very simple. You don't need to log into 10 separate disk stations. You just log into one disk station, everything is done from there. And you can also push package updates across as well. So at the minute, if you have, say, 10 disk stations all running video station, there's an update, you've then got to log in every single system and push those updates through to there. With this, you just do it once and it makes your life a lot easier, really. So this is the policy rollout. So this is quite cool, actually. Let's say, for example, I've got two groups of servers. My Taipei head office, I've got my UK branch. When humans perform lots of tasks, like similar tasks, they're very prone to human error. So again, if you have 10 disk stations, you apply firewall rules, all the same to all those 10 disk stations. The likelihood is at some point you might make a mistake or doubt yourself. So you've then got to go back through the process, verify your work. It's not efficient. So we create a group and then we apply our firewall rules as a whole. So it pushes all those rules out to those servers. We don't need to do it 10 times, just once. And the same things are also blockers, things like set up shared folders, etc. as well. So it's really simplifying the process of setting up your Synology. Next, you guys have probably heard a few rumours seen on the posters over there about scale-out storage. So traditionally people are seeing Synology actually as a NAS company, and NAS is now attached storage, and people have said to us, there's no way to scale out, I want to put different servers and sort of utilise the storage together. So I'll have a quick overview of one of these challenges. So we can see I've got two application servers, I've got three storage servers. What's the problem with this diagram? So, okay, I've got 100% utilisation of storage space on one server. My upgrade path for this is very limited. The only thing I can really do is schedule downtime, take the system out and migrate the data to a bigger system with more hard drive base. That's causing downtime for your customers, but I'm also wasting my storage space in 30% and 70% of the servers as well. So by utilising the clustering, we actually group everything on the network into one. So that's a Synology scale-out cluster. This is a single volume on a massive scale. So again, it's minimising the service disruption, things like data migration process. So you'll hear the term big data at trade shows. Synology are actually now scaling out from terabytes to petabytes. So can anyone tell me how many terabytes in a petabyte? 1024. If you can tell me in kilobytes, I'll give you one of my free beers as well. So we also supported automated load balancing with that as well. I'll show you the difference in load balancing and failover. And as I say, it's going from a single system all the way to a multi-node compact storage array, and you can use this to minimise service disruption, downtime, etc. So there's three different ways we can do this. We've got storage and computing. I'll first talk about the computing side of it. You guys might be thinking, oh great, I can offload processes and Apache processes and PHP off to different servers. It's not the case at the moment. The actual processing behind this is the way that the cluster, if you say for example you've got a large cluster of Synology servers, and on a file base you put different files all over the cluster, there's a huge amount of computational power required to actually search the cluster and find out where those files are. And that's what your computing servers do. Obviously storage servers, you move in, it just scales the space. And the more space you have, obviously you need a bit more performance as well. So we can also drop in another server, drop that for performance. We've actually scaled equally by putting in 2 servers. But obviously it seems a bit of a waste if you've got like an RS3614 and you've got a load of drive bays that are not being used, so you may as well just get one and put it across the whole array. And that actually increases the space and the performance across both, basically. So moving forward, this I used to actually work in data centers. This is something very familiar to me. This is how we created a 1 petabyte cluster at head office. So by doing this, we had 1 RS3614XS Plus, 288 4 terabyte hard drives and 6 1 terabyte hard drives. You imagine a massive amount of power required to run that system. So does anyone want to take a guess on how long it took to create the volume? Just a ballpark figure.
We need help.
A minute, it's a bit optimistic. it is in the minutes range still, so there we go, 11 minutes to create a 1 petabyte volume. If you're looking at radio arrays at the minute, if you create array 5, array 6, sometimes you do block scrolling, etc., it can actually take longer than that. So this is across a distributed network as well. So there's 3 different types that we're supporting in scale-out storage. Obviously you can see Stripe fastest performance, and you can equate this to array 0. Say you're using array 0 on your disk slots, then obviously you're going to lose your volume. It's the same with the Stripe, but you're getting the performance, but you're not getting the redundancy. We're supporting it, but again, if A, B or C fail, you're losing that chunk of data. You've then got 1 replica, so you can see in 3 servers, I've just lost my 3rd server, but I've still got the other 2, my data's still okay. But if you really want to push forward from that and have ultimate data protection, you can lose 2 servers. Obviously, the payoff to this is you need extra storage space to do it as well. So, as I said about the different types of load balancing, there's 2 types of load balancing, 1 type of failover. So looking at this is actually load balancing by net BIOS name. And what this does is when you map your network driver connecting volume, you're using net BIOS name. And what happens is net BIOS name is answered by a random server in the cluster. So, for example, there we go, 0.1 answered, 0.2 answered, 0.3 answered. So our application server actually connected to different computing nodes. And these computing nodes then go out to our storage cluster and saying, who's got file A, who's got file B, etc. The next way of doing it, which is probably, I think this is a more commonplace way of load balancing, especially in the computing industry, is you round robin DNS. So the way this works, if you guys don't know, is you have DNS servers, we've got down here our DNS servers, we've got 3 identical records. All these records are actually pointing to different IP addresses. And what will happen is our application server with a large Synology cluster, DNS server will go, you go have 0.2. The next request it will actually answer 0.3. So it actually moves back on itself and it sort of load balances it in a less random fashion. It's more predictable. So you can see we made a connection based on the DNS request. Obviously, this with DNS is cached, so with DNS cache is storing that record. Obviously, if you flush your cache, then you could potentially get another server. It's not to say that you're not back in the same place in the future round robin. Again, failover. So as you can see in this diagram, with the failover, there's no actual way at the moment of load balancing, but this is something that we're looking into. And this is very similar in effect to how HA works. So if any of you guys have used HA, basically you have a floating IP address, and what happens with this IP address is it moves between the clusters. So all of the servers can talk to each other and detect what they're down. So let's say, for example, I lose 0.1. My application servers have moved over to 0.2, so it's taken the floating IP address, and again, the same if that server failed, it'll go to the other one. But the problem you've got here is a bottleneck. Obviously, the one computer node is taking the load for the entire array. So that was the scale-out storage. I'll actually be showing you a short video towards the end of the demo of how we create the cluster, which is actually quite interesting. As I said, backup enhancements, if you use time backup in a minute, there's some interesting features here. And also the first thing I want to talk about is the way we perform my SCSI snapshots, for example. So let me give you a situation. It creates a snapshot as the data is. There's no way of telling if there's I/O going on, there's no way of telling if files are locked, etc. So what's actually happening? Let's say I'm writing 10 gig files on a hard drive, I just pull the power out of it. I don't know if that 10 gig file's finished writing, so I've actually got incomplete data there, it's not complete. So, for example, the transactional database server, you might put company information in, but you might not feed the invoice information to the company, so you're not getting the entire information there. So by utilising my snapshot manager plugin, what we can actually do is we trigger a snapshot over to our cluster, of our VMware servers or Windows servers, it notifies the host saying that there's a snapshot request pending, and then the host can actually reply with the data checked in. So what's happening here is the host is going, all the files are locked, there's no sort of I/O going on in the background. It's checking the data and everything is complete. There's nothing that's going to be corrupted. And then that moves over, Synology receives it and checks it in as a snapshot. So there we go, we've actually got our data in a complete full snapshot. This is an issue with address, obviously, performing snapshots in 4.3. The only way to do this is to disconnect the LUN and actually snapshot it and reconnect the LUN again. The plugin is available for Windows and VMware. As I said about time backup, we've actually improved the backup feature of backup and restore, now call it backup and replication. We're supporting versioning as well. So me personally, I've got this station at home, I've got things like photos, documents, stuff like that on there. And what I want to do is be able to go back to different versions. At the moment, my backup solution is to rsync it to a server in France. The problem I've got with that, I've only got the one version, so if there's a corrupt file in that version, I'm actually losing the information. I can configure with DSM 5 how many versions are actually stored. And the great thing about it is I'm not storing full versions. I'm not saying, there's 10 1 gig files here, that's 10 gig storage use. I'm only storing the change blocks. If there's very minor changes, it's only storing those changes. When you request a restore, pieces it back together, gives you the file how it was on that date. We're actually going to incorporate sort of a timeline on the restore process. And that supports local and remote backup destinations as well. So things like USB hard drives, Amazon S3, rsync server, Synology Linux server. So we're really enabling people to do things in a different way now. Moving away from time backup, you actually have to back up obviously to Synology server as well. So now for performance enhancements, one of the main performance enhancements we made is SSD read and write caching. You guys might be aware in 4.3 the only caching available for SSDs is read caching. But people wanted write caching as well. So the way this works is really, really simple actually. SSD is a flash memory, so it's a lot quicker to write something to flash memory than it is to mechanical drive. The mechanical drive, it's got to figure out where on the platter it is, move the heads to the correct location, wait for this to spin back around in the next cycle. It might not seem critical, but those milliseconds do actually matter in a business environment. So by writing to flash memory, we just drop it onto the SSDs, and the SSDs take the file request. As soon as we finish writing it, the SSDs upload it to the hard drive, so we're actually getting an instant response from the cluster. Enhances that performance by up to 2 times as well. So this was a massive ask for feature. A lot of people were saying to us at trade shows, you thought read caching, but what about write caching? So we took on board what you guys are saying. Moving forward from that, some Synology enhancements. 4.3, we actually enabled ODX support for Microsoft Windows, similar to VMware VAI, how you sort of offload the transaction between the array rather than doing it direct connection and relaying it back. So the way we've done this, we actually aggregated read operations. So in my animation here, you can see the read operations are very random. What we do is we actually chunk all these read requests into one single request basically. We're reducing overhead, and by doing that, they're sort of sequential, and it's much faster. And as you can see, it's off the charts. The IOPS are increased by up to 7 times as well. So it's quite a big performance enhancement there. A lot of you probably find it very useful. Moving forward from that, HTTPS response time was increased by 20% as well. The way we've done this is we actually used the Google Speedy protocol. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. But basically, Google brought out this protocol to enable HTTPS requests to be processed more efficiently. So we actually incorporate that into our web server. And again, we made some improvements to ASP as well for small files. And it wasn't the start before, so we increased that by 30% as well. What I'd now like to do is actually demo to you the centralized management system, scale out storage, and some of the backup options as well. Okay, with in our centralized management system, we've actually got 3 servers enabled at the minute. I'm using the 713 Plus. It is my central server to manage everything. So we can see here, already I've just literally logged straight into centralized management, and I can see everything is okay in the array. And I haven't logged into 10 servers to tell me I've got drop drive in one or a package update on another. I can literally look at it and I can, I'll be able to sleep tonight, everything's running okay. So if I go into servers, you can see here I've got 3 servers enabled. You've actually got 2 different ways of adding a server. So let's say, for example, you're adding a server from a local network. This is very similar to how a surveillance station finds IP cameras on the network. We send out a broadcast. It's not actually going to find any servers because we've already added everything available to our array, but it will send out a broadcast to all the servers. If anything replies that come from the list, we can add it. You guys are probably thinking, it doesn't support over the internet. Actually, yes, it does. So we go into here, and we can add a server based on its host name, so dynamic DNS address, static IP address if you can remember it. We can also enable HTTPS as well, so you don't want those login details going over the wire in plain text. So put the username and password. Once you've done that, it'll actually add that server in. So the guys I was actually talking to before the presentation were saying they put this station to multiple customer sites. So the way they must manage this at the minute is actually logging each one individually, but there's, administrators don't have to, proactively go out and check everything individually, so just add everything in. And then if there were any notifications across the cluster, they can actually see here. Obviously, you want to close the network, there's no notifications, everything is healthy, we're not getting any SSH brute force requests from China or something dodgy like that. Logs as well. So again, I can see all the logs across all the servers. There's the option to filter it based on this criteria. And you can actually see here, I've created a policy called Greg 2. So I'll show you that in a second about the group policies. Again, package updates, if there were any, obviously DSM 5.0 is very new, so no package updates yet. But they would appear here, I can actually choose to update all, search against if there are any more updates, etc. So it makes it much easier to manage things. Say you're running high availability or something like that, and there's a new package update or typing or patching, you can push updates out as a group rather than as a single request. So here we go. This is the group policy. So you can see I've actually got, I've used my name like that, that was a simple one. So here we go, I can actually see I've got policy in HQ, I've got policy in Greg, and I've got policy in Greg 2. You see the difference here actually is this one's sort of greyed out, and this one is actually, this shows it's enabled, so this one's actually disabled. The reason for this is if you create a policy, let's say you create a firewall rule, and then you want to test that firewall rule, but you don't want to delete it, say you can't access it. So it's a great thing you can transfer the policy and actually disable the rule. And that will disable the firewall rules and all those services. You can actually troubleshoot, it makes it easier rather than go through, add 10 more firewall rules to your cluster and have to delete it, re-add it, just to troubleshoot, just disable the policy. It's really easy to create policies as well, so I'll put it, again, create free. It won't enable by default, so you actually have to specifically check that box for it to enable by default. Edit the policy, so here we go, you can enable Windows file change service, or let's say I want to join 10 disk stations to the domain. There we go, just log in, put all your domain information there, everything's done there. Also block firewall, traffic control. There's loads of different things you can do in there to enable the terminal, giving you guys ultimate flexibility really. I'll click OK, you can actually see Greg 3 now created. I'll then enable the policy. There you go. I can also, say I want to move that policy to different groups, I'll move it over to HQ. There's actually no servers in HQ at the minute, so I'll put one in there. I'll actually drag different servers into different groups. Put that one in there as well. So anything I apply to that group is only one of those servers, not touching my server 1.3 plus over here. So again, things like shared folders, you can actually see which shared folders are set up across the array, what the volume folder is. You can also see volume information. So this is great because if I did have a drop disk, if you guys have ever had a degraded or a crashed volume, you can actually see in a glance, literally everything is okay, everything's normal, disk space use is okay, capacity available, everything is working well at the minute. You can also get information about specific hard drive as well, so you see smart status is normal, and that was not initialized, we're not using the disk. And you can see stats about the different hard drives, if they're normal, if there's errors, etc. So moving on from what Stefan was showing you in the presentation about information about hard drives, obviously mechanical disks are things that fail. Anything with a moving part does fail eventually. So I'd like to show you the interface of the cluster now. So this is a real big business feature called DSM 5. So you can see here we've got distributed, one replica, two replicas. So we've got three different options that we can create distributed. Then also asks you what you want the underlying RAID type to be. So RAID 5, if you're creating this on the volume, say you've got 10 disks in that specific server, RAID 5 only gives you one disk redundancy, so you might be risky with it there. So I'd probably recommend you go to RAID 6. You've got two disks redundancy. You click on next, and it will search for any servers available. There's none available at the minute, so we haven't enabled it. But I'll show you the video how the volume was actually created. So I'll now move over to my video. I'll show you how it was created in 11 minutes. So you guys don't believe it, so I'll actually show you as well. So here we can see we're now creating the volume. We're actually select all the different servers, all these servers in the text on our network, and shows what disks are available. all the servers are now detected. There we go, timer started, so I'm not going to make you watch all of them. I'm moving forward from that a bit. So we see 11 minutes, 15, 16, there you go, it's going green. So within 11 minutes, we've actually created a 1 petabyte volume. And now we can see that the 1 petabyte volume is actually available. We've seen the amount of storage servers we've used for that, and as I say, we've used 9 RS-36 14SS buses, 288 4 terabyte hard drives, and 6 1 terabyte hard drives. So that is a massive data volume. That is a single CIFS share. So it's not multiple different volumes. This is one whole volume, making it really useful for you guys. So I'll now switch back over to the presentation. And that is DSM 5 beta. So this is our release date. I hope you guys have enjoyed hearing about the business features and the rest of the features about the consumer side of it. I'm sure you guys